Buck roll.
I love you, Bobby.
Welcome to the 757 Renaissance Man podcast. On this episode, we chop it up with Dr. Rhonda Alexander. Dr. Rhonda is a life coach, speaker, author, and businesswoman. We will talk about growing up as an HBCU child, HBCUs versus PWIs, life at Regent University and becoming a doctor, my 10-year-old son applying to college, becoming an international businesswoman, being a Black woman in Germany, her books, and what motivated her to become an author. Let's have a conversation with Dr. Rhonda Alexander. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the podcast. I have a great guest with us today. Hopefully, we're all going to learn a couple of things. I have the one and only Dr. Rhonda Alexander in the house. How are you doing today?
Hey, I'm good. I'm glad to be here.
Yeah. Every day we wake up is a great day.
Right? They say every day that you're above ground is a good day, right?
Exactly. So what we want to talk about today are some of your achievements, a little bit of your story, and of course we want to talk about your books.
Okay.
So let's get started. Me and you go way back. Both of our parents are Hamptonians. We spent many days. Your mom was in the choir too?
Yeah.
Spent many days at commencements that we didn't know anybody that was graduating. Because they both were in the alumni choir.
Yes.
So what, as being a child of an HBCU graduate, how did that shape your childhood?
By the time I got to Hampton, I already knew the alma mater. How about that? I probably was the only person who walked on campus day one at orientation and I knew the first verse. I didn't know all the verses. But my mom, whenever we passed by Hampton, my mom made me sing it. And that happened from day one. I can't remember a time where we passed Hampton and my mom didn't go, "Oh, Hampton, I thought," and I was like, "I don't want to sing," but I had to sing.
Right.
I had to sing. And so by the time I got there in 1993, I knew the first verse of Hampton's alma mater. And of course, while I was there, because I also was in the choir, I learned all the other verses. And so that was a huge thing that the love for Hampton was instilled in me, from way back. And I don't think I really appreciated my HBCU background until I got to be much, much older and to really understand the difference in the communities. When I'm not sure if this is a good thing, but when I went to get my master's from MCV at Virginia Commonwealth University, I walked in, it was my day to register. I walked in, I registered, I walked out. And I was like, what is this sorcery, right? Because anybody who's been to an HBCU knows that registration is a
multi-day process. Right.
It is a process. It is like pledging. It is a rite of passage. Like,
that's where you meet your first friends on campus.
That line, all the way up to financial aid. And they go, "No, you got to hold. You need to go to the registrar." Oh, if you haven't been.
Oh, wait. What about when you get your schedule the way you want it and like two of the classes aren't available?
Oh my gosh. I'm telling you. And this was, of course, back in the olden days, Sean, when we had to do it all on paper.
Yes, was no online registration.
Right. And then they got fancy and made it on the phone. And you could call in your registrations or whatever. But I didn't really start to notice that there was a significant difference in my experience versus the PWI experience until I really got well into my adulthood and really could appreciate the values and the community that I got to experience And then the homecomings that for a while I didn't go to until I again realized we have a whole different way of doing things and enjoying each other and celebrating each other. And so I really have come to wear my HBCU alumship as a badge of honor. I really see it as something that shaped me. I'm so proud to be a part of that community. Of course, being, with Vice President Harris being in office, we get to have some extra pride in that. But you really do get to say, I was a part of that community. And I think it's made a huge difference. Looking back, it really did make a huge difference in just, in laying a really great foundation for me.
So my story is kind of funny where both my parents graduated from Hampton University. My great aunt and great uncle both were professors at Hampton University and lived on campus. And they were the closest things I had to my grandparents, because my one set of grandparents was in Illinois, the other set was in Oklahoma. So going to Hampton University's campus to hang out with my aunt and my uncle was the closest thing to going to grandma's house. So I really didn't realize that everybody didn't go to HBCUs.
Right.
Until maybe once I was in college myself. I thought everybody went to Hampton, Norfolk State.
It was all Hampton. It was all Hampton.
For the longest time, yes. It was only Hampton and whoever Hampton was playing at homecoming.
Right.
But then, I learned about A&T and you from being around, and because my aunt and uncle were professors, I got to hear a lot of the politics that go on behind. Like President Harvey was like an uncle to me. One of his daughters used to babysit us back in the day. Just going to the president's house was no thing. Walking around campus was like walking around my backyard. And I'm talking about, this is like, I'm 10 and I'm supposed to be here. This is where, everybody goes to college, goes to Hampton University.
Right.
There are no other colleges.
And yet.
Yeah, I did. We'll get to the story of how I got to Norfolk State later.
Oh, gosh.
And it was a very last minute thing, too, because all my life I knew two things. I knew I was going to go to Hampton University. Well, I knew three things. I was going to go to Hampton University. I was going to be in a band, and I was going to play the tuba. That's what I knew. I didn't have no idea. I couldn't care less about a major. What I was going to do.
I want to go and play the tuba.
I want to play the tuba. I want to be in the force, and I want to play in Hampton's band. That's what I want to do.
Right.
For the longest time. That was my whole motivation for going to school. Like, you have certain people that's in athletics, and the only reason they go to class is so they can play football.
Right.
The only reason I went to class so I could be in the band. The only reason I was in the band in high school was so I could be in the band in college.
Right.
My whole motivation for graduating from high school was so I can go.
So you go to college and play the tuba.
Yeah, exactly. And I was going to be in the force. That's what I was going to do. And then one day, I think I was in 10th, 11th grade. It was later on 10th grade. And I went to an exhibition where Norfolk State and Hampton's band was there. And Norfolk State gave it to Hampton.
Yeah. If that was your criteria, like, I can't dispute. It's legit. Yeah.
But I should be using Battle of the Bay was bigger. That's just as big here, if not bigger than homecoming. Yeah,
that's a big deal.
And
it was even bigger of a deal when we were, young adults. I mean, it's still big, but I mean, I think it was like.
Once y'all changed your conference, and it kind of made it a little bit different. Yeah.
Yeah.
But before then, that was just as big as homecoming. But, they were, up until that time, neck and neck. Like, I really didn't pay Norfolk State's band any, never mind, because I was so stuck on Hampton.
Right.
But this one year, they just cranked all over Hampton's band. And I was like, oh. there is another band out there.
I want to do that.
That was kind of cool.
Yeah.
So I got curious and I ended up meeting the band director. And, you know, they would let me hang around a little bit. And yeah, and I still was like, nah, I'm going to go to Hampton. I want to be in Hampton's band. And then and when I say it was the last minute, Rhonda, it was the last minute. Like, band camp starts in June, the end of June. And I didn't make my decision till like the middle of June. No, actually, but I think band camp had already started. And I finally made my decision. And I walked into the band director's office and he said, how can I help you? I said, yeah, I think I want to be in the band. Then he said, okay, so what instrument do you play? I said, tuba. That was the magic word. You could have either been tuba or drummer. Tuba. What high school did you go to? I went to Deep Creek High School. Oh, okay. So you can read music, right? Yeah. He said, what do you want? And I was so ignorant, I didn't know what to say. I was like, I want to be in the band. Sight unsight. He didn't hear me play a lick. He was like, okay, this is what we can do for you. I got your books. Then after band camp, come talk to me and we'll see what we can do. Which was cool for me because, you know, books, that's $1,200, $1,500.
Yeah, man.
That my parents didn't have to pay. Yeah, let's do that. So I got in the band and never looked back. Yeah. But
we love you anyway. We love you anyway. You're wearing the wrong colors, but
behold,
we love you.
the green and gold.
God help me.
See, y'all don't even have a saying.
We don't need one. We're Hampton. We don't need one. We don't need that.
Yeah, you know, you go anywhere. But it was so incredible, though, being in the band, having 30,000 people scream, behold, the green and gold. It's just like a feeling out. Never, ever. Excuse me. It's a feeling that I can never, ever, ever forget.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I know those were some really, really fun times. I mean, I no matter where you are, football games, homecoming, in those settings, it's just, I mean, it was, looking back on it, it was probably the best times of our lives. And my daughter does not attend an HBCU. She wishes she had, but she did not.
She can go back for graduate school.
She can, but she has come with me to Hampton's homecoming, and that is what made her regret her decision to avoid Hampton, and she just wanted to, blaze her own trail, which is fine. And so she chose PWI, and then came to homecoming with me, and was like, "Oh, we don't do this." No, you do not.
No. No. And it's just like my cousin Chico was a Q. He's been a Q since I was a little kid. Being able to go in the yard with him, watching the different traditions, like when they come out, and that little circle right in front of Ogden Hall, and
that you do not walk across.
No,
you do not walk across the sacred circle.
Break your kneecaps off. But in one thing, I think some people, they don't realize how Black they are or how Black they're not until they go to a HBCU.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think that awakens, because you meet all kinds of Black people. You meet country Black people. You meet city Black people. You meet, well-traveled Black people. You meet people who's never left their mama's front yard. And all of that comes together, but you're still Black. Right.
Right. Lots of diversity even within that community.
Right.
It's still not monolithic. We're still a very diverse community of thinkers and creatives and, scientists. And I mean, you learn so much about people and about behavior and about yourself. I mean, and there's history, every HBCU carries with it some profound history that really, I don't know if you really identify with it when you're in undergrad. I mean, I didn't really grasp what I had, the ground that I was walking on, the honor that it was to be sitting in some of those buildings and to be walking along some of those sidewalks.
We're lucky enough that we could take it for granted.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And I did later on really understand, I finally, actually last year, I got the opportunity to actually take a picture under the Emancipation Oak. I'd been there. We've been here in Hampton Roads our whole life. I went to Hampton. I think maybe I went to the Emancipation Oak once or twice, but never really grasped what it was until my daughter had to do something for her African American Studies class. And she was doing a screen grab of the Emancipation Oak. And I was like, girl, it's up the street. Let's go. So we made that a little field trip, and we snuck and took pictures because you're not supposed to go under there now. But we snuck and took pictures, and it hit me that day. It hit me of who sat under that tree, the impact of the information that they received under that tree, what that tree has seen and heard in its 100-year life. Yeah. I mean, to me, it really was a very impactful moment that I had the opportunity to walk the halls of some of the buildings of some of the greats and people who, would not otherwise have had similar opportunities had it not been for the Emancipation Proclamation and the creation of Hampton University. So, it's the gift that keeps on giving, right? It's, you get this education, you get this community, and you learn then. But as you grow up and you really start to understand the seriousness of life and you get to put life into perspective, you really get to understand just what you had as a foundational part of your life.
Right.
And so it just has been given to me over and over and over again. It continues to contribute to my life. So I'm grateful that I chose Hampton over Virginia Tech, because I did apply to 2 schools. I always knew I was going to go to Hampton, but I applied to Virginia Tech anyway, just to see what
happened. Right.
And I got in, but I knew I was going to go to Hampton.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm lucky right now because my daughter is her first year of high school, and she's starting to look towards college.
Sheesh.
She's accepted into the ACE program. So when she graduates from high school, she'll have a associate's degree.
Nice.
So she's really on, I want to go to college. She thinks she wants to be a lawyer. I'm not going to kill her dream, but I don't think she wants to really be a lawyer. Mm-hmm. She wants to do lawyer type things, like wear lawyer clothes and drive lawyer cars. But I'm not sure if she really wants to be a lawyer.
Lawyering is
it's a lot of reading that I don't think she's ready for.
Got it.
Things can change. Things can change.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I'm so happy when I asked her where she wanted to go to school. She says, only 2 schools, Daddy. I said, what's that, baby? She said, Norfolk State and Hampton University.
Okay.
I'll take either one. Either one. At this point, I'm good with that. Right. But let's talk scholarship.
Amen. Amen. And that was really a huge determining factor for us. Just that, VCU gave her more money, and that was what it came. And she really didn't have
that's what boiled down for me too. Because as soon as I walked in there,
I mean, it was A&T for her and VCU, but A&T really, they had a lot of students apply and they put her on a wait list, even though she had a very high GPA. They put her on a wait list, and it got down to, are we going to accept this thing or not? Mm-hmm. And, we went in that other direction, and I'm glad for it. It has all worked out to her benefit. But yeah, she wants that HBCU experience. I said, well, you still have a master's degree that you can get, and there's other stuff you can do, but it ain't the same.
Yeah. And I have to thank my band director, Alzie Walker, rest in peace. He was very upfront, very brass, but he helped shape me into the man I am now. Yeah. And I got to appreciate that. And like I said, he was no nonsense. He came right out like, how much money you want, what you need.
Right.
And that really made, because Hampton was not giving me anything. So that made a big difference out of the whole thing.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
So after Hampton, what did you do with your life? What kind of degree did you get, and what did you do?
So after Hampton, I went to, what did I do? Oh, after Hampton, I got married and I moved away and all that stuff. And then I went to VCU's Medical College of Virginia, and I got a master's degree, the first of two. And then I went later on to ODU and got a master's in public administration. And then I worked for a while, doing things with FDA. I work with medical devices and drug products, getting those approved and cleared. And I have the opportunity to work with companies around the world. I'm really blessed in that regard. I get to, my company is working in 14 countries now. So I'm really blessed to be able to do that. And then, not last year, this is 21. So in 19, I got my doctorate and I became Dr. Rhonda.
Congrats, doctor.
Thank you, which was a whole thing. I think I took everybody. I feel like everybody who knows me on social probably feels like they earned the doctorate with me because I really shared that whole experience with my online village. And that was a big part of my survival, my motivation, that I knew people were watching. I knew people had expectations. I knew I was encouraging people. There were people who were going back to school because of my journey. And so I knew I couldn't just quit. I couldn't let them down. And I survived. I made it. I got through it. And by far, professionally, academically, by far the hardest thing I've had to do. And I have a degree in molecular biology and clinical chemistry, and getting that degree in strategic leadership was the hardest thing I've had to do, because you literally change. I didn't believe them when they said that the degree is going to transform you. And I was like, it's a degree. All right. I mean, I can read, I can study, I can get work done. No,
it's a total different level.
Total different level of commitment. And what you produce is literally a birthing of your ideas. You learn a set of content and then they say, okay, now what's inside you? Let's get it out. And it's the hardest thing I've ever had to do, because it really does stretch you to what you think is beyond your limits. It has you doing and asking questions of yourself, and really evaluating your life's choices. Like, did I really make the right decision here? And it grows you up. You really do. Those who survive it, because not everybody makes it, and those who get in really have earned those letters, and it's transformative. I took that for granted, but I believe it now. It's true.
Where did you get your doctorate?
At Regent University. Yeah. So
what's the difference with going to a HBCU to going to a Christian university?
Holy Moses.
No sweat boxes.
First of all, there was air conditioning. Yes, there was air conditioning.
No, the sweat boxes at Norfolk State?
What?
That's when they had, the old student union. And it's a little tiny cafeteria in there. And they used to have a dance like every Thursday night.
We had those on Friday in Holland Hall in the gym.
Yeah, but the room can hold maybe 200 people, but 400 people would be there.
Yeah, and the walls were sweating.
Yes.
Yes, sir. We had those. We called those Holland Jams.
Did they have those at Regent?
Well, I don't think so, because everybody on campus, they're there understanding who also resides on that campus. Mm-hmm. And he don't do the parties and whatnot. So it was a huge difference. Of course, totally different stage in my life. So I don't know the undergraduate life there at Regent, but despite what people think about the founder of the university, who has, his own challenges.
Yeah. Which I blame a lot of it on age, but
yes. And publicity, you live up to the hype people have for you. Mm-hmm. And so I was very skeptical when I first started going to Regent, because of that, actually. And I was so moved the first time I walked on the campus. It feels different. Mm-hmm. It really is. There really is a sense of God lives here. Mm-hmm. The Holy Spirit is on this campus. And it's very hard to explain to people because you look at the founder of the university and you go, is it all like that? That wasn't my experience. I met people who are now forever a part of my life. We still are in touch. We still encourage each other, pray for each other. We come to each other's events and talk on each other's conferences and preach for each other and talk to each other. We're still very much involved with each other. And that was the clincher for me when I got on campus and I heard the story of how the university was started. And I just felt that this place was different. Mm-hmm. And for the place that I was in my life at that time and where I knew I was going and why I was being called to take on that particular endeavor of getting a doctorate. I didn't want to. I resisted it for a whole year and a half. But I knew it was a part of my destined assignment. I knew it was something God wanted me to do. And we had this deal. I would do it if he'd let me get all A's. And so we had this kind of deal going into it. I held up my end of the bargain and he held up his. I got all A's, and did not struggle in areas where others did. I had plenty of struggles, but...
Can we make that deal for my son?
Well, I mean, good grief. He is already ready for college. He is applying and I'm like, hey, what if he got into college? What are you going to do?
And I'm going to... So the deadline for all you guys that don't know, I have my 10-year-old son, unbeknownst to me, applied to Virginia State University and got a letter back. And they are interested in him. And they told him because of COVID that they're waiving SATs. And it's probably a chance that he might could go.
Wow. What made him do that?
I have no idea. My son has my name. So when I got the email, I thought they were talking about me.
Right.
But then I got there and I realized the date of birth and it was him.
So he literally applied, requested the application.
He won't tell me what he did because he thinks he's in trouble.
Oh.
So he won't tell me what he did, but he did something. And they sent me an email. And then when I didn't respond to the email, they sent a letter. Wow. Yeah.
He is serious. I hope he gets in. I just hope that's the next challenge you have to face. You're a 10-year-old, 11-year-old. And
people used to jokingly call me Doogie Howser, but he would be the real Black really Doogie.
Will. That just blows my mind that he had the presence of mind and the thought to even do that. Like, what is it about Virginia State?
I don't know. Okay, so you know me and being being from Norfolk State and going to Norfolk State Band. I take them to all the Battle of the Bands. I take them to Family and Friends Day. When our band director passed, we took him to the memorial. So I don't know where he got Virginia State from. If Virginia State or Hampton, I would have, been like, yeah. But I don't know. Maybe it's the colors. I don't know.
That blows me away. That's hilarious.
They actually sent him a letter back, and I got a couple of days. And I think just to do it, I'm going to go ahead and fill it out.
Just let him see the process. I mean, what's the worst that could happen? I mean, there's nothing bad. I mean,
the worst that can happen is I'm going to have to pay tuition next year. That's the worst that could happen.
There's that. There's that. The worst thing that could happen is that this actually works.
Right. And Dad, we're eating beans again. Yeah, because you're smart, but wanting to apply to college. That's why.
Right. We all got to live in the dorm. Wow. That blows me away. I'm still just baffled by the fact that he did that. I love it.
Well, like somebody said, if that's the worst thing your kid is doing, then you're doing an okay job.
Seriously.
So
Seriously.
Don't have to get you out of jail. I just got to get you out of college. So, yeah.
Probably about the same expense, though. I mean, you come away with something good.
Yeah.
And, alternatively.
I could really seriously retire again.
Right.
Because I tell both my kids, I'm taking care of you now. All Daddy wants is a house and a black Cadillac.
A black Cadillac.
Black on black Cadillac.
Oh, gosh. Well,
With the matching fedora.
I'm sure they're going to come through for you. I'm sure. I'm sure.
All right. So once you got through Regent, so were you working also while you were going to school?
Yeah, I was working. I have a daughter. I'm a single mom. In fact, I was building a business at the same time. I started in 2015 and then went, I don't know what I was. Well, I do know what I was thinking. I hated my job. I left my job in 2016 and started my consulting firm while I was getting my doctorate, while my daughter was also in high school and doing it was like a doctorate thing. She was at the World Languages and Global Studies, whatever. It has a name, Global Studies and World Languages Program. Uh-huh. But she had kind of like dissertation work. She had to do a lot of research and, she was carrying all these classes. And so we really were going through high school and PhD, not PhD, but doctoral program together. And so all of that at one time and I bought a house. So I was, if you're going to do it big, right?
Do it all the way.
So yeah, I was working and dealing with all of life's challenges and all of that, even while I was getting my doctorate.
Right.
Yeah.
So tell me about your business.
So my main business, the one that I've been building for the past 5 years now, I work with companies around the world that want to market legally medical devices, drugs, and cosmetics in the United States. And so they have to go through applications or, various submissions to the US FDA to be able to do that. They have to get approval in some cases. So whatever their compliance hurdles are, I help them kind of navigate that, get through it, and get their products positioned so that they can get into the US market. So I've been doing that generally for about 10 years. This will be year 11. In April, it'll make 11 years. But I started my business in 2016 with an international client. My first client was in Germany. I don't know if you remember, I was going to Germany every month.
Very jealous, yes.
Yeah, that was the life. I loved it.
So,
and so my business...
We gotta talk about that.
Okay.
What was it like being a Black lady in Germany?
It was cool. They were nice to me. I was in Rostock, which is it's between Hamburg and Berlin, 2 hours each way. And really rustic, really old world, but I had no problems. I got catcalled actually a few times. So apparently German chocolate is a thing. People were very kind to me. I didn't know any German. And the woman that I was working with at the company I was consulting for, she was kind of like my mentor. She was is American. And she was an expat. So she lived there and had lived there for like 12 years. So she did speak German. So she would take me pretty much most places I wanted to go. But I did, you got to get out on your own. Mm-hmm. So I did learn how to say I don't speak English. I did learn how to ask for some things. And, in language, there's some, you can see some similarities in words that help you to know where you are and what to expect. Mm-hmm. But I loved it. I absolutely loved it. I miss Rostock very, very much. I want to go back. There were times that I'd go out and walk in the kind of markets, and it would be every stereotypical thing you could think of Germany. It was the accordion music, people outside walking or dancing, and the look of the town would have that traditional kind of German mm-hmm. town look to it, and very historic. Rostock is historic. There was a war that was fought there. It sits on the water, and it was just. I was so blessed to have that opportunity, especially coming off of a job that I absolutely detested. It was just very toxic. And I just felt like this was the complete opposite. It was absolutely a dream come true to be able to work internationally and to travel. Every month I was in Germany mm-hmm. and to get to meet people. It was, I grew up in Virginia Beach, so it wasn't odd to be the only brown person in the room sometimes. Mm-hmm. That wasn't odd for me. And there, everyone treated me very, very well. People in the town, people in the companies that I was working with, very, very great experience. I loved it. It was great.
Did you get a chance to drive on the Autobahn?
I rode on the Autobahn. I did not drive, and the fastest we got up to was 117, and it was scary as crap. Because even at 117,
were you pushing your driver like go faster?
Oh no! And I'm going to tell you why. Because even at 117, people were zooming past us, and it was scary. I mean, I did manage to, because it was a 2-hour drive. Mm. So I did manage to sleep a little bit, but a couple of times I got in the drive, in the car or whatever, and the guy would, I would think we were going fast, but I wasn't sure because cars were, not just driving past us, like driving past us. And so I got this app. And I was like, it's a speedometer app. Uh-huh. And I looked down and we were doing 107, 110. And I'm like, and I think I posted it one day. I was like, y'all, I can't believe we're driving this fast. And cars were zooming past us. And it was crazy. It was.
So it was Germans crazy. Would be highly upset with our tunnel system down here.
There was some traffic. We did sit in traffic a little bit. I was going to say, they'd be aggravated with our traffic, but they really, they had rush hour as well. Mm-hmm. They had the same, even on the Autobahn, there were times when we were slowed down. So, but yeah, I did get to do that.
And next question, how was the food?
Very good. Very good. I did not do any of the well, I won't say, and that's not true. I did go to Subway because Subway was right across the street. And there were times when it was cold and that was the farthest I wanted to venture out.
Right.
But I did have schnitzel. I had, there was this bakery that was next to us and they had these toast and they make their eggs soft. They scramble their eggs very soft. Mm-hmm. And I don't know what else was on there. All I know is it was very yummy and I ate it every day. That and egg salad was really good. I tried lots of different things. Their sausages, their hot dogs are different than ours. They taste, they're the long hot dogs. They taste totally different. Their sausages. What else?
Did you have hot sauce in your purse?
No, I didn't. I did not. Probably should have, but I didn't. But I had chicken wings. I had pizza there. Their pizza is really, really good. So I'm one of those people when I travel, I try to stretch myself as far as I can go. Like some stuff I'm just not going to eat.
Okay.
But I do try to eat what they would eat. I try to have the whole experience. So I did. And I learned the things that I liked. And there were some things I didn't particularly care for. I don't like their hot dogs.
Did you try the German beer?
I did. I did enjoy the German beer.
Okay.
It was very good. I did. You can't go to Germany and not try the beer. And they generally don't drink flat water either. They drink seltzer
Sparkling.
or they drink sparkling water. They think flat water is weird.
Okay. Good to know.
Yeah.
All right. So getting back on topic about your business.
So that started out, that started my business. And then I've just kind of grown it since then. And then from there, I started, once I graduated, as a part of my program, I launched my coaching business, where I coach entrepreneurs and really am helping to get people into entrepreneurship who want to be in there, but they're concerned or they feel like they're facing obstacles to be able to do so. Mm-hmm. So I've been working with entrepreneurs, usually underserved entrepreneurs. And when I say underserved, I mean people of color, Black folks, generally. My typical client is professional Black women. And so I work with them to help them overcome the emotional barriers to entrepreneurship, the actual barriers to entrepreneurship. And as I've gotten deeper in this industry, learning that, we all think we want investment and we want to grow and scale our business. And I've learned just how far behind we are when it comes to being able to think and speak like mainstream entrepreneurs. And when I say speak like, I mean using their terminology, understanding the venture capitalist system, understanding the startup principles and all the stuff that they're being taught that we don't talk about. And then we wonder why less than 2% of Black businesses get investor funding. We think we're going to get investor funding, but we don't because we're just not positioned. We're not prepared. We're not exposed to the same things that they are. And so as I've learned more about this, it's really something I've kind of taken close to heart, that part of the problem as to why we don't get those dollars and that mainstream attention and why we're not on the list for venture capitalists, generally speaking, yes, there is institutional racism and bias. And yes, there's a good old boy system. All of that absolutely exists. But a big part of the problem, there's two sides. And one side of that is we're not exposed to the same stuff they are. Mm-hmm. So when we start talking about wanting to grow our business, wanting to launch our business, and they come alongside us and they say, well, what's your value proposition? What's your unfair advantage? What's your customer segmentation? What's your cost structure, your revenue model? We don't know those things. We're not talking about that in our business schools and in our business circles. A lot of times we're not talking about that. We're asking, how do I start a business plan? That's important. But do you know whether you're solving a problem that people are willing to pay for? Do you know whether or not you're able to capture a market and sell something to them? Mm-hmm. And so we end up frustrated about our businesses because we're not getting enough traction, enough sales and enough publicity. People aren't showing enough interest. So we take it out on our family and friends who aren't spending hundreds and thousands of dollars on our product, right? And we get mad, nobody's supporting me. Well, that's not the point. They're not supposed to. You're supposed to be solving a problem or answering a question that people are willing to pay for. That solution is supposed to be geared toward a problem that people have. And that's what motivates them to pay. That pain or that need is what motivates them to buy. And so we don't position ourselves from that vantage point. And then when we start to talk to mainstream people and they're asking us these questions, we can't answer them. Mm-hmm. And so that's been a big question as I've been talking to venture capitalists and been in rooms with investors and people who have the investment dollars. They're saying the education isn't there, the knowledge isn't there, the mindset isn't there. And ultimately, these investors want to make money, mm-hmm. right? So they're going toward the high growth, high impact businesses, which are generally tech-based, because tech is transformative, it's disruptive. So they mm-hmm. want to get in, make that money and get out and move on to the next project. And they don't see the value. That's the other side of the problem, is they don't see the value in the solutions that Black people are offering. So because our problems are different. And so our reasons for starting businesses, the problems that we're solving, the way that we view business is also different. And until there's a bridging of those two perspectives, there's always going to be a disconnect between Black business and investment dollars. And so that's kind of turned into part of my mission, is to help get both sides talking to each other and to get Black businesses thinking and talking like mainstream businesses, mm-hmm. Mainstream startups. So that is my other, that's kind of like what I'm assigned to. That's my calling. That's my life's assignment.
It's hard enough to get in the room. So once you get in the room, you need to know what to say. Absolutely.
And, it is very much relationship based, and sometimes, you can win a contest, you can get lucky, but when you get in there, you're up against a room full of people who all look the same and they don't look like you. The demographic is generally speaking, is very monolithic. It looks one way. And so when they go to fund and they're listening to these ideas, it's easy for them to identify with the people who look like them. Exactly. And so if you can't come to them with a good pitch, if you don't have your projections right, if you don't have your terminology right, and you can't say, hey, if you invest $1 million with me, I can have 8 to 14% back to you in 3 to 5 years. Zoop, you've lost them, because that's why they're in it. You have a great idea. They like you. You're great. They'll smile on your face and shake your hand. But ultimately, you're a portfolio. You're a part of their portfolio. And we have to start looking at our businesses the way that they do. But then also we have to get them to look at our businesses the way we do too.
So I think this is a great segue to go into what made you become an author? What started you writing your books?
I was really pushed to do so. So my first book, Entrepreneur, is the public version of my dissertation. So I took that and turned it into a book for public consumption. And then I decided to write another book called Your Life's Calling, which you might see it over my shoulder, that yellow book. That book came because I was giving a talk. It was a major talk in 2019. And I had been kind of ruminating over the topic for a while. And it was like, it's now or never. You write this book. So I wrote it in 6 weeks. And that book is about really looking at the parts of your life that make up your calling. And that book, that was a labor of love as well. And I'm proud of it because I actually was able to get a book written in 6 weeks, which most people aren't able to do unless you're a professional author, which I am not. So I'm very proud of myself for at least getting it done. And I've gotten some good feedback about from people who have said that the book was very transformative for them in terms of looking at their life's work and how they have been able to take what they believe is their calling or what they believe is their purpose in life and marry that to the work that they do. And to produce satisfaction and happiness in their life and fulfillment, to feel like I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. And I feel like that book I've written because I lived that. I lived being miserable and hating my job, and then having the opportunity to really explore what is my calling? What is it that I'm supposed to be doing? And so that book is kind of written from that perspective. And then I wrote Side Hustle or Sustainable as an ebook as I started to realize that a lot of our businesses, we don't evaluate whether or not we want that business to be something that just supplements our income or something that we actually want to become an enterprise, something that is scalable or that will grow into a large scale business that's able to sustain us through, full-time work or through retirement or to be passed down or to, go public, it could, what do you want the business to be? And, you have to start kind of with the end in mind. What do you want your business to be for you? And some people are okay with the business just being a hobby that they make money off of. And that's fine. But you will be frustrated if you're not structuring your business to be scalable and you expect it to be scalable. You want it to be something that you can turn into a full-time gig, but you didn't start with that ending in mind. So you're not structured to ultimately be able to take your business to that level. So Side Hustle or Sustainable, it's an ebook available on Amazon, and it's a really quick read. It's only like 40 some pages, I think, if I recall it correctly. And it is meant to just make people think about their business in terms of what do you want out of this thing? And if you want it to be a sustainable, scalable enterprise, these are the things you need to think about. What is your purpose for doing it? Why are you doing it? How do you price things? Have you done the correct level of customer discovery is what we call it. Have you gone out into the public and asked, do you want this thing? How are you?
Or the service.
Yeah. I mean, would you, what's your problem? Do you have, when you go to order food, what is your problem? Well, I'd prefer to have my food delivered to me. Oh, well, would you make use of a delivery service called DoorDash? Or would you ever, how do you feel about somebody picking up your food and bringing it to you? And somebody goes, I'd pay for that. Ding, ding, ding. Right. Now you've discovered you've got customers for this idea, hence DoorDash and Grubhub and all these places, Instacart and all this stuff that's out there. They've done the work to ask customers, ask the public to see, would you pay for this solution? And once you discover people will pay for it, now you know what the business can do for you. So I talk about that in the book, kind of at a high level, just to get people thinking about their business in a different way, not just say, hey, I want to sell T-shirts and let me go buy all the stuff to buy, to make T-shirts. Not how can I position myself to really innovate and think about a T-shirt business differently so that I can make money and produce the kinds of clothing people are looking for. That's a different look on it. So that's what that book has been. That's what I wrote that book about and who I wrote it for. And then this year I might write another.
We will be looking forward to it. Ladies and gentlemen, that's been my conversation with the Dr. Rhonda Alexander.
Thank you for having me. This has been fun.
We're going to have to. So I did talk to your brother and your cousin, and I think we're going to do a podcast. And we're going to call it the Rosa Sharon Reunion Tour.
That is going to be hilarious.
Everybody look out for it. It's going to be Barney, Aaron, Michael, Ben, me, you, and maybe if I can get my sister out of the house, maybe her too.
Yes, that will be great. And the backdrop for that has to be the picture with you in the pink jacket.
Yes. No, it was a pink shirt. And I was very fly. It was very 80s.
Pink shirt? Okay. I had on pink and you had on pink. I remember, I think in that picture.
Miami Vice, yes.
Yeah. For sure.
So I want to thank you. The people can reach her at thedrrhonda.com.
Yes.
Go ahead and spell it since I went to Norfolk State.
THEDRRHONDA.com.
Thank you, Rhonda, for coming through and chopping it up with us today.
Sure.
We hope your conversation helped somebody. And we'll talk to you guys later.
Bye. Thank you.